Hello there, welcome to Penpositive. This is Vinod Narayan. Yesterday I told you about agile, and today I want to talk to you about estimation. Now, in any project that you do, in any work that you do, you have to estimate. You have to estimate how long it's going to take. You have to estimate how many people you might need. And based on that, you also have to estimate what cost it would be. There's a cost for goods, there's a cost for people, there's a cost for time, and everything runs on this estimate. And how close you can get this estimate to an actual, and how close the actual cost can be within the estimate is where the success lies. Because if you start overshooting from that estimate, it eats up into your profits and it makes you bleed. So, and humanly, we are not very good at estimation. You do it for a long time, maybe the same work we do over and over again, we get to get a better way of estimation. Now, how do we get good at estimation when we are doing the same task over and over again? That's because we have some base on which we estimate. We are not out of the blue coming up saying that this work is going to take me 15 days or this task is going to take me 5 hours. Now, in agile, what happens is that we do this estimation of on a comparative way. There's a concept called story points when we do estimation within agile. So what we do in story points is that instead of estimating a piece of work or a task by the number of hours it takes or days it takes, you basically use story pointing. You use something called a Fibonacci number. You either say that this task has 1 point or 2 point or 3 point or 5 point or 8 point or 13 point. So that's how the Fibonacci number scale goes. So you basically put a story point, but it's not just that you put a story point like look at it and say, okay, that's a 2 and that's a 3. You don't say that. You first fix a base. You fix a base on something that you've already done and say that based on the complexity of this particular work, I think we all agree that this could be a 3. And you take another piece of work and say, this is bigger than this, so this we will put it as a 5. So you take a few bases like that. And then when a new work comes, you all as a team, what you're discussing is that, okay, what's the story pointing? You don't just go ahead and say it's a 13, it's a 8 or anything like that. You basically say, okay, we know what a 5 is. We have all agreed upon what the size or complexity of a 5-pointer is. You know what is the size and complexity of a 3-pointer is. Now, compared to the 3-pointer, is it like half of it? Is this work like double of it? Or is it kind of equal to this kind of a task? So we could put. So it's a very interesting way of estimating things. So for every sprint when you do in agile, you kind of have this pointing system, story point system, where you say that, okay, right, 20 points, 40 points, 30 points, it all depends. So the interesting thing about this estimate is taking away from the software perspective of things. Let's look at a book. Now, you're given a book and you're asked, how long will you take to read that book? How do you estimate? It's a, say, 500-page book. How do you look at estimating it? In a normal life, when you want to estimate it, you might say that I take 6 hours to read a 200-page book. So a 500-page book could take anywhere between 13, 14 hours and up to about 18 hours. Now, you also look into the factor because you already know that it takes about 6 hours for a. If you did not know that it takes 6 hours for a 200-page book, you don't know how much it would take for a 500-page book. Now, again, the book could be different. Your estimates might be same if it is the same author, the same genre of book. If it's a fiction that you're reading, and if the 200 page that you can read in 6 hours is a fiction, then you can probably a fiction with the same author, the same theme, you could probably say what it is. You could also say that based on the amount of things that happen in your life, 6 hours is something that you can very easily complete. You could get time over a period of few days. 12 hours or 18 hours is pretty difficult because you don't know what's going to happen a few days down the line, what kind of important job is going to come. You won't be able to concentrate on it. So there's a lot of factors that will impact this. But the only way you can do it is by comparing it with what you have already done. So that's this whole concept of story pointing. And when I look at it, you always need to have this base, and then comparing with the base, you basically say how big it is, what is the size of it. You're not trying to find something to the hour, how long it would take. You're basically trying to look at a work and from a size of it, from the complexity of it, categorize it in various buckets. I want you all to read through estimation. Estimation is something that everyone struggles with. From experience, you get to know how it happens. Now, estimation is also only that relevant if the team doesn't change when it comes to software. I know I'm moving from software to life to software, but then much of these things are mixed in my life, and that's why I want to bring that whatever you use in software, some of these things of estimation, this agile methodology, all these things are in one way or the other connected with the life and work that we do. And we can actually interpret many of these things into our life and try to see if these things can really help us. I want you to read through estimation, try to understand. I've told this series of videos are not to teach anything, it's only to nudge you. If there is something that you think you need to have an additional, something to work on, something to study on, go read on it. And there's a lot to read. There are books written on estimation. Take a look at it. At the end of the day, estimation, the only thing that you want to do, the final result or the goal of estimation is that you're able to say, this is how long it will take, this is what cost it would be, and then when you do it and give the finished product, it is within the time and within the cost that you set out to spend on it. That's where it becomes a success. Obviously, you give certain amount of leeway in terms of saying that it can go 5% this way, 10% that way. But at the same time, anything that you do it after estimating it. And try to see how off the mark you are. And then over a period of time, you find that if you say something is going to happen in 3 days, it will happen in 3 days. Because you would have already set that clock as a habit within you to basically be able to do these things. And you will find that you will find a lot of free time for yourself to really think and better the process that you're working on. You take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't know exactly about what, but I'll find a topic. You take care.